Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So I have big news for today. I actually ended up buying a BMW M3. So like the video I posted the prior week about, buying tips, ironically right after I'd filmed that, this all happened really fast that I actually found one the next day. I kind of wish I had documented it a little bit better as far as the process, but it just all happened so quick. Basically, what happened is I was just searching on Facebook Marketplace that evening and saw one for sale. Messaged the guy. He got back to me right away. Real nice guy. We chatted a little bit about the car. I mean, he was super great. It was exactly what you want in a seller. I mean, in some ways I felt kind of bad, like, all right, I better buy this car because I'm asking for so much. But I asked him for very specific pictures on everything, and I think in the end he sent me close to maybe like 34 pictures. I didn't have 34 requests, but I had probably, thinking of maybe about like 10. And he sent pictures of everything that I asked. And I think as a buyer, I always appreciate when the seller tells me up front everything that's wrong with the car. It makes me trust them more. But then two, as a seller, I'm not going to be able to negotiate much on the price once I get there, because what I've done is I got a check, a cashier's check for a major portion of the purchase price, but then also got another $2,000 in cash, just so if when I went there was other things that I saw on it that he hadn't mentioned, it wouldn't have already been worked into the price. So I've tried to negotiate down a little bit further, but he disclosed everything. And one thing is like I mentioned in the other video, having the rod bearings done is a big deal. So a lot of people who advertise it, they'll say oh yeah, the rod bearings were done, and then when you ask them, they have no documentation of oh well, the prior owner, he told me that it was done, or I did them myself, but then they can't even produce a receipt or a picture of anything as far as the bearings. So it's it might as well, I'm not going to take your word for it. So this guy was great. He sent me both the work order from the shop that did it, and then he also sent me a screenshot of the transaction from his bank. So I'm like, wow, this guy's pretty serious. But he said he couldn't actually meet up until Monday because he and his wife were going on a sort of short staycation, just going up up to the lake up north from me. And I'm like, oh come on man, let's do this. And he eventually I'm like, all right, fine. Where are you going? And so I'm actually in Madison, Wisconsin, and he's like, well, we're actually going to the Wisconsin Dells. I guess I should back up. He was in Chicago. I'm like, really? Well, you know what? Madison is just along the way. Why not just bring the car up here and, we'll just do the transaction then? And he's like, all right, let me talk to my wife. So he gets back to me. He's like, yeah, we can't take two cars. I've got my 3-month-old, and he can't be left alone by himself. He needs someone to be there with him all the time. I don't have kids. I've never heard of that before. So I'm like, all right, man, come on. I'll throw in another $100 for the rental car, so you guys can drive just the one car up, and then you can just hop into the rental car. And he's like, all right, well let me just make sure it's okay with my wife, but it sounds like that's reasonable. Luckily, he gets back to me within 15 minutes and is like, all right, yeah. He's like, that's fine. We're gonna be leaving at around 3, so I will be there roughly around 4:30 or 5. And we met up at the Enterprise rental car station, and the car checked out. It was great. It has 84,000 miles, or 84,706 when I bought it. And since that point, I've actually put a decent amount of miles on it. But it's a DCT. My criteria when I was looking for one is that it needed to either be a 6-speed convertible, or I was okay with DCT or 6-speed on the coupe, just because I know that when it comes time to sell it, because I don't feel this is a car I'm going to hold on to forever. I just want to have some fun, wanted to try it. I've never owned an M car before, so I just wanted to see what all the hype was about. I like the way it looks. So I knew anyways that going into it that reselling was going to be a big factor in it, and I know that the coupes are a lot easier to sell, DCT or 6-speed. Obviously 6-speed is a little bit more expensive, but the DCTs still move, unlike the convertibles, which already don't move very well, and you add the DCT into it, and they just sit forever. I mean, there's so many ads on Facebook and Craigslist and eBay and Car Gurus that just the DCT convertibles, they just sit forever. So that was my criteria for that. And again, the rod bearings being done was also a huge thing for me as far as like once he was able to produce that documentation, I'm like, all right, I am probably going to be buying this car. I was already pretty dead set on that. I was already transferring money from my savings account into my checking account. I'm like, you know, this is probably going to be happening. But yeah, no, it was great. It's, you know, it's a 2009, so it does have the upgraded iDrive. It's weird, and maybe I'm just really stupid, but for whatever reason, I can't get the cruise control to work. And I mean, I know how it operates down there, but it doesn't seem to work. So I'm gonna probably have to take that to get looked at. First thing I'm gonna do is needs the windows to get tinted, and then there were some scratches and scuffs on there that I'm going to try to do a paint correction with another friend of mine who is, you know, really good at that stuff. He also was in the prior video with helping install the C6 ZR1 wing onto my Z06. So we are going to be doing that here shortly. But yeah, just want to make a quick video. Thanks for watching, and hopefully you're going to have some more M3 content coming out as well. So see you next time.